Welcome to Engines of Mischief. Congratulations, you are a vicar. This means you are a parish priest in either the Anglican or Methodist faith. You are responsible for the eternal souls of the residents of Manchester as they transition to the new industrial economy, and for the ethical well-being of the entire nation. But you also have to survive in the earthly realm, and to do this you must make an income and live a respectable lifestyle yourself. This video will explain how you keep track of the amount of money you earn each game session. Each profession and social class has a different worksheet they have to fill out to keep track of their income. First, you must fill out a Make Money worksheet for your profession. Then you must complete a lifestyle worksheet for your social class, the middle classes. You will use new worksheets each session, and if you change professions or social class, you will use different worksheets. Now let's go over how to complete the first worksheet. First, make sure you include your character's name and the session number at the top. We're assuming this is session 1, the beginning of the game. Then you have to figure out how much money you earned this session. You make money mostly by providing church services and maintaining the church buildings. Because of this, you get a guaranteed salary from your church of 50 shillings per week. You get this each session no matter what, and you fill in this box each session. Let's assume in session 1 that you didn't make any other money in other ways. You just earned your salary. So you add your salary at the bottom there. We're assuming you haven't spent any money, which means your total income is 50 shillings, which you put at the bottom and at the top. You also don't have any savings, so you put a 0 in that box. Now you have to determine how you can live based on how much money you made this session. In other words, you have to figure out what your lifestyle is like. And you use a Determine Lifestyle and Status worksheet for this. Again, make sure that you include your character name and the session number at the top. And don't forget you have an income of 50 shillings. This makes you a member of the middle classes. But there are 3 levels in the middle classes, and you have to see which you belong to. These levels are based on income earned by the person each week. So clearly you don't belong to the upper middle classes because they earn at least 1,500 shillings a week and you only make 50. You also don't belong to the middle classes because they make a minimum of 450 shillings per week. You are in the lower middle classes. You are one of those people who make between 50 and 449 shillings per week. So now let's fill out this worksheet. You only fill in the boxes for one class level. For you, it is level 4. First, fill in the boxes for income. This is what you figured out from your Make Money worksheet for that session. Your income is 50 shillings. You don't have any savings, so your total income is 50 shillings. This is what you can spend this week on everything you need to buy. The first thing you need to buy are necessities. These are things you have to pay for each session to be considered part of your class level. You have to eat a certain way, dress a certain way, and live in a place that makes you middle class rather than working class. So this includes the food, clothing, cleaning supplies, furniture, and rent for your shelter that you must buy, and it adds up to 50 shillings. The pictures on the right illustrate how you live, what your necessities are. You don't actually have to buy any of these things in the game, they just indicate what your lifestyle is like. It would be nice if you could buy some luxuries, and if you could, you would fill out this row here. Luxuries will give you status. They show you are doing better than other people at your class level. So you gain status points when you're able to buy luxuries. But you need to buy 130 shillings of luxuries minimum to get 1 status points. And you don't have that extra money. You have no savings after you've paid for necessities. So it's in your interest in the next session to think of ways to make more money. Let's look at some ways you can make more money. Imagine it's session 2. If you look at your Make Money worksheet, there are many boxes to account for things you possibly can make money on, in addition to your salary, which you always put in. Many of these things are described in your role sheet, but because you can do so many different things, it's probably best to use business ledger while marketplace is going on, and then fill in your worksheet afterwards. So let's say this is your business ledger. The first row includes your salary. This was promised to you even before session 1, and you get it every session. So in the column agreement over and Y, that is blank because this is a recurring payment. You will always get it until the game is over. Other things you can do is give sermons about the 7 deadly sins. This is in your roll sheet. You are protecting the souls of the residents of Manchester if you point out if 1 or more players are violating or avoiding the 7 deadly sins. People like these sermons, so they give more money in the collection box in the church when you give them, which is why you get 25 shillings more. This is only one time when you give the sermon, so you only get it if a sermon has been delivered. You also get more money in the collection box if you get more parishioners to come to your church on a regular basis, rather than go to the church of the other vicar in the game. Talk to as many residents as possible and convince them that your church is the best and they should attend it. They can sign a pledge to join your church, and if they do so, you will get 50 shillings. You get this each week if you still have a majority committed to your church. You can also open a charity, but this costs money. And if you don't have that much money, you can get a loan, for example, from an aristocrat like the Earl of Derby, or perhaps from the banker. You will have to pay interest each session after you get the loan. The loan is a one-time payment, but the interest you will have to pay each session afterwards. You then, if you get that loan, give the money to the game master. In other words, put it on your worksheet as having been spent under startup costs to open a charity. So you get 200 shillings in money earned, but you also spend that 200 shillings. The next session, session 3, you will have to pay interest to the Earl of Derby, and you keep paying that every session until you pay back the principal. But you also will make money, so this is why you might want to open a charity. You could open a charity that is a school, and you will end up making school fees. Or you could open a charity that's an orphanage, and then you can send the children to work in a factory, and you keep the wages from the orphans. There are a few other ways you can make money. For example, perhaps you could make 75 shillings by being a regular spy for Lord Melbourne. You would just have to approach him and offer your services to him. So in the end, you will add up all of the money you've earned, and you have here a total of 400 shillings. You also add up the money you spent, in this case 200 shillings, and you end up with a total income of 200 shillings. You don't have any savings. So now let's see how this has changed your lifestyle if you have an income of 200 shillings. So you fill in the boxes, income of 200, no savings, total income of 200. And after you pay for necessities of 50 shillings, you actually can buy luxuries because you get 1 status point for every 130 shillings of luxuries you buy, and you have 150 shillings to use. So if you want to buy luxuries, 130 shillings of luxuries, you put it in the pink box above with a minus sign, and then you give yourself 1 point for the luxuries, but you still end up with 20 shillings in savings. Then you add up the status points below. So you put the 1 shilling below because that's a lifestyle status point. You earn that for your lifestyle. You can earn other status points, for example, in town hall by giving an excellent speech. If you have any status points previously, you add that in the next box, and then you add the status points up. So you end up with 2 status points and 20 shillings in savings. In the next session, you put your savings from the previous session in the box here. So you had 20 shillings in savings after you spent 130 shillings on luxuries and got yourself a status point. But you do have a choice. You don't have to buy luxuries. You can save your money. And if you do that, you will end up with 150 shillings in savings, which you can use for other purposes, like to go to opening another charity or any other thing that you can think of. So keep thinking about ways to make money. If you do well, you could move up a class level into the middle classes from the lower middle classes. If you can afford 450 shillings in necessities, you move up a class level and you gain 5 status points. If you do really, really well, you could move out of the middle classes into the upper classes with the aristocracy and gain 10 status points. If you end the game raising your status at the same time as you protect the souls of the residents of Manchester and do good works, then you've proven that you have adjusted well to the new industrial economy, and you may win the game. Good luck.